Hey folks, I don't know if you caught this on the news where you are, but yesterday in London, Ontario, a truck struck 5 people, killing 4, leaving the 5th in hospital. The 5 people were targeted by the driver of the truck, a 20-year-old man. This was a planned attack. It was premeditated. He knew what he was doing. He told the police, from what I'm understanding in the news reports, he told the police he picked them because they were Muslim. Three generations of a family were killed as they went for an evening stroll. A 9-year-old is left in hospital with serious, but I believe to be non-life-threatening injuries, because somebody decided they needed to kill Muslims. The driver of the truck was arrested, according to the news, about 10 minutes later. He's facing 4 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and there is a good possibility that he'll also face charges of terrorism. The Muslim community in London, Ontario is shocked by this. Terrified. But they're speaking up. As is often the case with people who are targeted, they are speaking with grace. They are speaking gentle words. They are speaking words of mercy and love and compassion. But they are asking for help. This violence has to stop. Religious leaders, regardless of the religion, regardless of the faith, regardless of the tradition, we have the means, we have the opportunity, and therefore we have the responsibility to preach love to our congregations, to preach peace to our congregations, to preach inclusion and acceptance to our congregation, to preach community, health, healing, love, compassion to our congregations. We have the responsibility to preach against fear, against conspiracy. We have the responsibility to preach against hatred. There are some out there, and they would never say anything so vile as to say, we should kill Muslims. They wouldn't say anything like that. But they might say something along the lines of, we should be afraid. We should be afraid of Muslims. We should be afraid of Hindus, Sikhs. We should be afraid of Buddhists. We should be afraid of atheists. And they'll pound that teaching into the heads of those who are listening until their followers begin looking over their shoulders, looking into the corners, the dark shadows, wondering when the Muslim's going to jump out, when the Sikh is going to jump out. We have the means, we have the opportunities, we have the responsibility to preach against this kind of vile hatred We have the responsibility to preach against this unfounded fear. We have the responsibility to preach that we are supposed to love our neighbor. And we're supposed to preach that little caveat that Jesus throws in there. When he's asked, Lord, who is my neighbor? Everyone is your neighbor, including those that you don't think you're supposed to associate with, those you don't think you're supposed to be near, those you are told are unclean, unpure, unhealthy, those even that you are told who hate you. These are your neighbors. In the coming days, there'll be more news out of London about this story. I have no idea who this person is. I have no idea where he comes from. I have no idea what he believes. None. But I do know what he felt towards those people and towards people like them is something that is out there. And it's something we need to be teaching and preaching against. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that you and I will actively and intentionally share messages of love over and over and over again. Remind our brothers and sisters, remind our neighbors of our call, of our responsibility to love one another, to be there for one another, to support one another, to connect with one another, not to fear one another. Amen.